Hello everyone, and welcome to the Gems and Friends Spring Fling event. We are the Elegant Embellishments design team, and we are all going to be showing projects through the month of April. Right now I just have you looking at my vintage trunks while I just explain a few things. So if you don't already know, you can go and purchase some fun goodies from Dee's store and use my code in the description box below to get 15% off your order of $15 or more. So I just wanted to remind you of that. Also, I just wanted to share the names of the sponsors for this event. So first of all, we do have Dee from Elegant Embellishments, and she has a Zibbet store. We have Witchcraft Do You Do on Zibbet. Her name is Carrie. The Cutting Cafe is Regina, and she supplied us with some fun templates. Spare Marbles is Diana, and she has an Art Fire store, and she has sponsored some digital files as well. One Little Dreamer on Zibbet is Artie, and she has given us some fun rosettes to use. Natasha's Scrapbook Corner on Zibbet. Memory Making Crafts on Facebook. Now this event is going to run through April, as I said. Please watch all the designers' videos throughout the month of April. Comment and subscribe to each. And then you will go back to Dee's video, which is linked below, May 7th through 10th to qualify for winning the prizes. And there's going to be lots of fun prizes, so that'll be a surprise. So without further ado, I want to share with you my first project. So here it is. It is a little street in Paris. So I kind of wanted to go for a Parisian theme, and I'm just going to give you the overview there. So there's 3 buildings and then some ladies standing outside, and I'm just going to bring you a tad closer to see each of them now. So this first one I made into a little antique shop, and I really just wanted to give that feel for Paris. So each building I cut out of chipboard and I put paper on, and then I decided from there how I was going to decorate each. So at the very top there you can see, and I'll just bring you a little bit closer here. You can see one of those metal filigrees from Dee, and I just stuck a pearl in the center. She's got that gorgeous pleated trim with the bling mesh running through it. And then the ruffle lace is also from Dee at Elegant Embellishments that I had in my stash. I put a little sign that says Boutique Les Antiques. I used a white frame from my stash, and I have put little clocks for my stash inside, and then in the center of some of those clocks I put some of the beautiful gems that Dee sent us, as you can see there and there. So that, I inked those resin pieces. Over here on the side, this is just a resin piece for my stash and some butterflies that I punched and inked. Here's one of those gorgeous cherubs from Dee at Elegant Embellishments, and just did some flower clustering there. This is a cute button that Dee sent us in our package. I've just put some rosette trim for my stash and another fun resin piece for my stash. So that is the little antique shop that I've done there. And I just fussy cut out these cute little ladies and popped them up so that they can stand like they're walking in the street. And that is from a digital paper from Diana's Art Fire store, Spare Marbles. So love that. The next one here I did was it says Standard Fashions. At the top there I just created a little sign for the store. I've done a little looped bow And that gorgeous pearl is from D, Elegant Embellishments, as well as the metal filigree. I just cut it in half and stuck it on either side of that. And just some pearl trim for my stash. I've layered some eyelet trim for my stash just to look like, sort of like the shingles. And then I created an awning and just decorated that. As you can see, I've created a little flower pot there. Here is my storefront window with the gorgeous wooden pieces from Witchcraft Do You Do, and I've just decorated them up and glittered them. There is a little sewing machine that is from Elegant Embellishments, and then I put a cute topiary again for my stash and decorated that as well. So that is my little standard fashion storefront piece. And coming over here, I decided to create a perfumery, and at the top of this one I've layered some gorgeous trim that Dee gave us. Love that. Created another awning, and in this window I have cut out that gorgeous lady standing in front of a mirror. That's also from a digital paper kit from Diana at Spare Marbles. Behind there I glittered and painted a wooden piece from Witchcraft Do You Do on Zip It. I love it with the little atomizer on there. That's so cute. I stamped a little perfume bottle and glossy accented it and stickled that. There is a cute charm that we got from Dee at Elegant Embellishments that I just glued there. And then another little topiary from my stash. So that is the perfumery. So again, coming back here, we'll bring you guys back so you can see the whole storescape again. I just had a ton of fun creating this. I wanted to create something different, and when I first got all the items in my package, I just knew that this is what I wanted to create with that. So I will move along to my next project. So here's my next project, and what I've done is created a suitcase stack, and the top two suitcases were created with, the top and the bottom were created with the template from the Cutting Cafe. So thank you, Regina, for that. She had an awesome tutorial on her website for that, and I just tweaked it just a little bit to go with my project. The middle one is just a book box that I had in my stash, so I wanted to just kind of change the shape a little bit, so I put that in the middle. To create the look of suitcases, I bent some of the metal filigrees from Dee and put them as the handles, as you can see. And the other file from Regina was the boot there, which I've just decorated. So I will show you the boot first, and then we'll get on to the other part. So here's my little boot, and I just created this with some paper using her template. And I've inked the sole, and I've used some baker's twine to look like laces, and then I just had some vintage buttons for my stash that I just put down the side there. I thought that turned out fun, and I just made some bow out of seam binding and used one of Dee's gorgeous crystals in the center of that. And this is some gimp trim that Dee sent us for the event, and then this is just some crocheted lace. So it just stands up, and I thought it would be cute next to the suitcases because it would look like her luggage that she was carrying on for her trip to Paris. So here are the book boxes, and I'm just gonna separate them so you guys could see them each individually. So here's my top one, And I've used some of that gorgeous paper from Diana's Art Fire store on top there. And I wanted to create like these vintage ladies as my focal point. So after doing that, I had covered all the edges. These are actually some square filigrees that Dee had, and I cut them to look like metal corners and then gessoed them and put them on the edges of the suitcase. I've used this gorgeous scallop lace that reminds me of like mermaid fins. So pretty. Some more of that gorgeous gimp trim from Dee. She sent us these little resin flowers, which I've put on the handle. Okay, so on the front here, I've just punched out some butterflies, put some glitter glue on them, and some flat back pearls. Here is the gorgeous flowers that Natasha sent us from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner on Zibbit. And what I did with those is I painted them with my pearl paints and stickled them. And I love those berries that she sent us as well to stick in flower clusters. Coming down here, I've got 2 more dress form wooden pieces from Which Craft Do You Do on Zibbit. Just decorated those a little bit. I put some of the rhinestone trim from Dee there. And so I stamped on top of these, and I love how that turned out. This was a wide lace that Dee sent us, and I just cut it in strips and made a double bow and put one of her really fun pearl pieces in that. Then I created a rosette with her polka dot trim here, put a little doily from my stash, and then put Dee's gorgeous cameo frame and cameo in the center, which I've painted with some pearl paint. And then on the top and bottom here, as you can see, I put 2 of her pretty rhinestones. I've just dangled a doily off the edge of the box. There is the other flower cluster using Natasha's Scrapbook Corner flowers and sprays. So I love it, love that one. I'm just going to open it up, and each one does have something inside of it. So here is the inside of this one. What I've done is I've used another frame from my stash and just stamped in the middle of it, and it says, "Style is a simple way of saying complicated things." And the arrow is just a bling from my stash. Around the frame, as you can see, this was Dee's gorgeous eyelet trim that she has, and I hand pleated that behind the frame, and it just added a really pretty dimension. I punched out some cute little butterflies and again put pearls in the center. I've just made some flower clusters that I rubbed some gesso on. Here is a gorgeous wooden piece from Carrie, Which Craft Do You Do? I painted that and just put some tinsel glitter on it. This is a really, really cute ribbon flower from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner that I put on top of the key. I've created this fun bow here out of some canvasy trim from my stash and just did some clustering of flowers there. I love the paper in the background. That is again from Spare Marbles, Diana's Art Fire store. Very, very fun. In the inside of each box, I just lined it and decorated it with some rosette trim and papers. So that turned out quite fun. Inside of this one, I created a lace headband piece. This does fit my head. So that's what that looks like. This is using Dee's metal filigrees, and I just doubled them up. I snipped between the petals to give it dimension and so that I could bend them. These are just some flowers that I created out of some twill trim. I have some curtain pieces behind it and just some fun burlap pieces with buttons or twine in the center of that. So I wanted to create like a little accessory box for her little Parisian trip. So that is my first box. The second box has this little Eiffel Tower, and I left it plain because I wanted to be able to stack these nicely. So this is some more paper from Diana, Spare Marbles Art Fire Store. I've just gessoed around the edges to kind of frame it out. This is a gorgeous Eiffel Tower that I painted with gesso from D, Elegant Embellishments. Little pink leaf applique for my stash. I love how that dangles. Here is this handle again, using one of these filigrees, and I bent that to give it dimension and put one of her beautiful resin hearts in the center of that. I put some laces on the edge of this book. Love how that turned out. And I just textured with some paint on the side. So in the middle of this one, I used purples because we did get some gorgeous purple flowers from Natasha at Natasha's Scrapbook Corner on Zibbit, as you can see in the corner. I've used her little berries, tucked in the flowers, with just a little bit of bling and doilies for my stash. The gorgeous ladies I cut out of the paper bags from D that she purchased from Spare Marbles on Artfire, and I've just used my watercolor markers and glitter glue to decorate them. This is just a little banner that I stamped, and I thought it would be kind of fun, like they were just kind of sitting in a store. Here's the other flower cluster using the flowers from Natasha. Another little flower resin piece from D. And then this is that gorgeous lace that D has in her shop, and I've just put it at the bottom there, and I cut that apart. So I thought that was really fun. Some more gorgeous ribbon flowers from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. There's another one of D's gorgeous flower pieces. And then I just tied a lace bow behind and stamped this little perfume bottle and colored it and glittered it. Okay, so in the center of this one, I've also lined it with some laces and fabric and rosette trim. That rosette trim is actually from my stash, but Artie did send us some rosettes as well, and I will get to those shortly here. So for this box, I wanted to create like postcards from Paris, as if it was like her writing to her friends, and just as some little memorabilia. So I've stamped with my postcard stamps, and then I've created a postcard. These corners are from D at Elegant Embellishments. Just popped up some little butterflies. This is some lace that I have layering behind here, and that is from D's gorgeous bridal trim, and I just cut those apart, as you can see, and glued those down. Here's that wonderful stamp that we got from Memory Making Crafts. Absolutely love that. And then I just stamped, "The road to a friend's house is never long." And then I did a little bit of stamping with a script stamp in the back as well. So I really love how that turned out. So I made 2 of those. So I just thought they would be fun sitting inside here, like a little postcard or letter stash. Okay. And then the bottom box, I have some fun paper here again from Spare Marbles. And I've gessoed over it and done some stenciling, if you can see that, with some clocks. I've created this beautiful seam binding bow and put one of D's beautiful centers in the middle. I love that. This one has some pink lace for my stash. This one layered on top is from D, and I just love how it really accented this box, how the pink comes behind it and really makes this bridal trim stand out. Gorgeous. Here's one of her filigrees that I bent up. And this is one of her beautiful pearl pieces that she has in a pack. Those are really fun just for flower centers or decorating little knobs like this. I really, really love it. Okay, so inside this one, I created it as kind of a picture box. And I've put some tags. So I put some tags inside a pocket that I created. And I will show you each tag here. The tags I created with the digital kit from Diana at Spare Marbles as well. So here's the first one. I've tied some of Dee's gorgeous eyelet trim on top and just put a flower from my stash there. I've distressed all the edges. This paper is so beautiful, and I've double-sided them. I created a bow with that scallop trim like that's on the box. There. Love that vintage lady, Diana. There's the back. This is that little image that I cut out. So I used that on a tag with some more of Dia's eyelet trim. Love the roses. They are so beautiful. This paper is beautiful. So the pocket I created with a punch, and then I put Dee's pleated trim there and created a little flower using one of Artie's beautiful rosettes and a doily. The center is from Dee. This was using the art tile paper piece from Diana's digital collage kit. And I glossy accented that and stamped this little Paris on there. So there's those little vintage ladies again. I stamped a little Eiffel Tower ticket thing on top of that. I love how it turned out. On the inside of this one, I created a mini album. But first, let me show you how I line the box. I used that gorgeous gimp trim from Dee. Okay. So I imagine this to be her little place where she stores her memories of her trip to Paris. And so I wanted to create a little album in it. So for the album, I used the vintage camera piece from the Cutting Cafe. So what I did was I hand cut all the pieces of the camera file, and then I decorated each one, and I really, really love it. The binding, I just used my binding system, and I cut strips out of the wide lace that Dee sent us from Elegant Embellishments, and I created this dangle charm. The Parisian charms are what Dee sent us as a gift for this event. So I've got the Eiffel Tower there, the little Paris charm, and the cute camera. And then I've just got little beads and dangles from my stash. So here's the front. I've used that gimp trim from Dee, as you can see here. And this pretty little rhinestones who look like the shutter. That is from Dee as well. I popped up the lens and the focus, and I just punched a little heart there, and I just stickled around the edges. I've lined it with some cute Venice trim, and so it's just bound with this canvas bow. So let me just open that up. Here is the first page, and what I've done behind each page, as you'll see, is I cut the rosettes out of the trim that Artie sent us, the rosette trim, and just poked them behind there, and it added a really shabby look. There's a doily behind there for my stash. This is a beautiful resin piece that Dee at Elegant Embellishments carries in her store, and I love how it just matched these papers that I used. I put a little canvas bow there with a flower center from Dee. There's this page, and this is one of the beautiful ribbon flowers from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner, and some more rosette from Artie, One Little Dreamer. Here's a little berry spray from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. And I love how the camera is just the base of the book. This one is another rosette piece from Artie, One Little Dreamer. I have this cute butterfly from my stash, as well as these ribbon roses and a chipboard piece. I just put little ruffle lace down there to kind of doll it up. On this page, I again have used a wooden piece from Witchcraft Do You Do on Zibbit, so I love that. Another little ribbon rose from Natasha's Scrapbook Corner. A little lace bow for my stash. And down here I created a little ruffle skirt with just some laces and pearls for my stash. Very cute. Here I used a piece of that ruffle tulle with polka dots trim that we got from Dee. Little butterfly from my stash and some cutouts from the collection. Here again you can see behind the picture is the rosette trim from Artie, and she sent us some really white and cream colors. So I wanted to leave them white because it looks so shabby and beautiful. Thank you, Artie. Another bow with a heart piece from Dee, Elegant Embellishments. You guys can really do a ton of things with those, but I like to use them as centers in my bows. Another page with the wonderful rosettes. I had a ton of fun creating this, and it came along so quickly, and I just want to make another one. Here I actually cut those metal flowers that Dee sent us, and they're very pliable. You can use your Tim Holtz scissors on them, and they just cut apart so nicely. You can use them in clusters. The rosettes are really versatile as well. So I've just poked them behind there. Here on the last page, I layered a beautiful rosette from Artie with the center from Dee, so you can see just how those two products look so nice together. Just a doily from my stash and another little butterfly. This just says delight in the little things. And there is the back. So I really hope you guys enjoyed my projects. I have one more little piece to share with you. And here's my last project I've created. I created a little shopping bag. I've used the printed paper bag that Dee got us from Spare Marbles Art Fire Shop, and I just decoupaged that on the bag. In her hair, I've cut out a little piece of the bridal trim and put one of Dee's blings on it with a feather sticking out of that, and it looks very dimensional, like it's part of her hat. At the bottom, I've cut apart Dee's bridal trim and put rhinestones in each of the flowers. Up in the corner here, I've used a rosette from Artie, One Little Dreamer, and I tied a little satin bow and put one of Dee's Roxy berries in there. There is some more of Dee's pleated trim with the mesh bling, and then some of her ruffle organza trim from my design team package. I just thought that would add a nice little ruffle at the top. Almost looks like tissue paper coming out of the bag. So there is my shopping bag, and I hope you all enjoyed my projects. Please go check out the other designers' channels and go purchase some of these products and play along with us if you'd like. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.